welcome to another episode of Alberta Backwoods Adventures. In this episode we're making some homemade tools, a little something called a log froe. Now for those of you that don't know what a log froe is, it's basically a tool that you hammer into a log. It's got a blade and a handle on it. Pull on the handle, it splits the logs in half, thus allowing you to make boards out of trees. It's pretty cool, it's a nice bushcraft tool, and I need to make one. So I've taken this piece of angle iron here and used my gas torch there. Sorry, I grabbed the camera too late for that one. And cut her in half. I'll be using this part for the blade system of the froe, and we'll go from here. So when I cut with the torch, I got this nasty looking cut. It's a propane torch. It's hard to cut and meat with. That's my excuse anyways. I got slag left over, so I'm going to have to grind that off using an angle grinder, which we got. So we got to grind. Safety first, guys, right? Safety glasses, hearing protection, gloves, all that stuff. Now I purposely left a little bit of a lip on there, so you can see there's a lip, as this is going to be the striking surface. You're going to hit this part with the hammer. It's going to be a handle attached to here. Nice handle, piece of pipe I'm going to weld on there. We're going to cut this edge down with a grinder and make it into a splitting edge. Next we have to add a bevel to the splitting edge. And we'll be using an angle grinder for that too. Take a while, so we'll come back to that. So we got the start of our cutting edge here now. Roughly ground out bevel with an angle grinder. You can see there's still a little bit of meat left there. So now I'm going to switch to a finer grade 80 grit sandpaper grinder as opposed to that abrasive disc there, and polish this edge up real nice. You can see what a beauty of a job that flapper disc does. It's called a flapper disc. It's a abrasive sandpaper disc. We just call them flappers where I come from. Look at that. So you can see that nice splitting edge I put on there, just like an axe head, about a 30-degree bevel. It's looking more like 60, but it's pretty steep either way. You need it nice like this here for splitting logs. Look at that shine. Beautiful edge. So essentially this is the idea. This here's what the tool is going to look like in the end, kind of. Now I need to figure out a way to attach this axe handle to, well, it's actually a hammer handle. Either way, I need to attach that to this steel piece, and for that I'm going to use a piece of pipe. And I'm going to hammer it down and squish it so it fits around this head on the handle, all nice like. Now for that pipe I gotta dig through my stockpile here. This rhubarb is growing huge, just like to note that. It's a little off topic, but massive rhubarb makes some good pies. I got my pipe right here. You can see I've already hammered the end flat so that handle fits in there. I'm going to cut a length of this and we'll fire up the welder. Now I've got a grinder for every occasion here. I know I'm a journeyman welder, so instead of switching heads out, I switch grinders out. I got my wire wheel for removing slag and rust. I got my flapper disc there. I had my grinder head. That one's for grinding concrete. Got a cutoff wheel. Wide selection of goodies. But we're going to be using a chop saw to cut this pipe. So I've marked out my length now with something called soapstone here. It's used for marking iron, just like so. So I got my chop saw over here. Beauty of a tool. She's going to give me a nice straight cut, so I don't have to worry about drawing a nice straight line around here. But if you were going to use a zip disc or cut-off wheel, as they're called, I'll show you a trick so you can mark a nice straight line around this circle. Now I myself, personally, not a smoker, but most guys who are smokers use their cigarette packs for this, but same idea. You just take a piece of cardboard or paper, something you can wrap around the pipe, or you know, if you're a pipe fitter or one of those guys, you'll have a tool called a wraparound that's actually designed for this. This is the hillbilly way. Just trace around her. That way you get a nice straight line you can guide your zip disc with. Now I need a precise cut. I want this piece to be exactly the size that I want. So you can see I've lined it up actually with the outside of the disc on my line. Otherwise I'd have that much meat short of my cut. We don't want that. Now I'm old school. Time to flip the record. Foggy Mountain Banjo, pressed in 1956. This one's a real classic. Listen to that sound. Gorgeous! Now we're left with this nasty burr on our cut here. So for that, again, flapper disc. Just going to put a nice quick little bevel on that, smooth her out. I'm making a tool for myself here, so you know, I want it to be quality. Very nice. So we got a problem here. We got a round opening and a tapered head. So to fix this problem, I'm going to take my 8-pound hammer and give her a nice little wallop. Problem solved. So my hammer handle here is just a hair too big to fit inside that pipe. So we'll take that grinder back there, flapper disc again, can be used for wood, puts out a hell of a stink though, but we'll shave just a little bit off, ever so gently, so she fits inside that pipe. Get the idea. Quite the fit, eh? I don't think that's ever coming off. Now I've put a nice square land on there to accommodate for the welding, and so the blade can sit on there nice. So we're all set up here. I got my wire feeder, and I'm going to tack with that because I actually have some skill. I'm going to use my stick welder here, welding 7018 1/8 rod, and in here self-shielding gasless flux core. Let's give her a whirl. After you're done welding, you're left with something called slag. That shields the puddle from oxygen. Don't have to get all technical. It's a byproduct of welding. Therefore, the wire wheel. Knock that right off, shine her up real pretty. Not my best weld there, but it's a homemade tool. One of the final steps, hammer this here steel wedge into the top of the handle where she's slotted there, and that'll wedge it out, make her nice tight fit. No slop, nice and tight. That's how you do her. There you have it, boys and girls. Got myself a log froe. Stay tuned next week for my visit to the cabin, and we'll show you how this bad boy's used.